5 children, 1 adult killed at school. 1 child, 1 adult killed in a home. And the 18-year-old shooter dead, police say, by her own gun.
An individual confirmed to be the shooter was located deceased with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
There are very few places in the entire country that have ever seen mass shooting violence like this.
How? How is this possible? In Tumbler Ridge? It's just completely unfathomable.
So in Tumbler Ridge, BC, tiny remote town, some 2,400 people living in the foothills of the Rockies, this was seismic. And for the first 24 hours, almost completely opaque.
It wouldn't be fair to speculate on that. We're still making those determinations. I think we will struggle to determine the why.
But now we know the suspected shooter, more about her history with police, more about her victims, and more about the sequence of events. Let's go through it.
The alarm went off that I've never heard before. And our principal goes throughout the halls and she's saying, people close your doors, lock down.
What we know of the story from the RCMP is that it starts at one end of town and ends at the other. We know the most about the ending. That's here, Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. Student population somewhere around 160. At around 1:20 p.m. Pacific time, police get a call.
RCMP received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School.
An alert goes out, describing the shooter as a female suspect in a dress with brown hair. The standing order to the public, shelter in place. Because when police arrived, they themselves were immediately in danger.
Upon arrival, there was active gunfire, and as officers approached the school, rounds were fired in their direction.
From this point, we learned 3 important things from police. 1, they never shot back. The shooter appeared to kill herself at some point after police arrived. 2, there were casualties. More than 20 people with injuries, at least 2 of them life-threatening, and 6 people dead. 1 of them an educator at the school, the other 5 kids, some as young as 12.
Most of our victims are quite young. Most were born of the students, most were born 2013 and 2012.
Then the 3rd thing we learned, police also found guns, plural, a long gun and a modified pistol. Guns we would later learn the shooter may have had a license to use at one point, except at the time of the shooting, her license had already expired, at least a full year prior.
I believe it was in 2024. She did not have any firearms registered to her.
But I said earlier, the school, victims found in the hallway, in the library, this was the end of the story. Police say it started at some point earlier at this home right here, about a 2-kilometer drive away. This was where police would only later find 2 more bodies, those belonging to the shooter's mother and stepbrother.
We were called because a neighbor, there was a young female at that home that went to the neighbors, and that's how we learned that there were 2 deceased at that residence. So the neighbor called the police.
Besides the fact that the shooting rampage started in the family's home, then moved to and ended at the local high school, we know from the RCMP a few more things about the shooter. Like I said at the start, 18 years old. Her name was Jesse Van Rootselaar. Female, but apparently born as a biological male. Began transitioning about 6 years ago. Had a history of mental health issues.
Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, the suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up. Concerns regarding mental health, self-harm.
Police would even go so far as to say some of those concerns involved guns.
Police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned for those firearms to be returned, and they were.
People will look at like guns, repeated mental health visits. This should have been a red flag. How do you process those?
Well, the big question is red flagged up to a certain point, and how many red flags do you need to act? And because you have to bear in mind that the RCMP has to operate within a certain legal framework.
But what police have already admitted they may struggle to figure out is, in all of this, the why.
there's going to be a lot of legwork that will need to be done by investigators on the ground to try to determine whether or not there were there were flags that should have been picked on and were not.
They did say there didn't appear to be any specific targeting of any specific students at the school, but that may change as police learn more. And they pointed out the shooter wasn't even a current student at that school. She dropped out of school around 4 years ago. So on the crucial question of motive, a real mystery, what drives someone to open fire at a school they don't attend? Police don't know.